Hey everyone, my name is Joe, and I'm going to show you on Google Sheets how to do some really simple formulas and a simple conditional formatting, along with just some simple formatting for numbers and whatnot. So as you can see, we've got a really small grocery list. We've got some eggs, we've got some milk and cheese here. We have a quantity that shows how many of each item we want to buy, and then a price per unit. So this is going to be the price for each one. And then we're going to calculate a total for how much all of this costs together per line item. And then down here for a total at the end here. Right, so we'll add in a total here. All right, so first thing we need to do, we need to add in formatting so that we know what quantity is versus prices, and we can do that real simple by selecting our field here, or our range, and then also we can hit Control and select this cell and this cell here, and then we can just come up here and say Format as Currency, and that's going to add that $sign in there for us, so we don't have to worry about typing that in manually. As you can see up here in the text field, it still just shows a 5, and that's what the value really is. Just the formatting adds on the $sign and then the point, the decimal points for the cents. All right, so let's start off real simple. We're going to try and calculate the quantity of 2 times the price per unit of $5 each. And so what we're going to do is we're going to click on the cell, and then you can either start typing from here or you can click up inside of this text box. Either way, it's the same. Let me show you. So we'll hit enter, or I'm sorry, equals, and Google Sheets is going to try and help you. People do this sort of operation all the time. It's a pretty common thing, and so Google Sheets is going to try and help you figure out what you're doing here. And in this case, it's absolutely correct what we're trying to do. We're looking at cells B3 times cell C3, right? And so that's B, this column B, and then row 3. And so we're looking at B3 and C3, and it says star, and star represents multiplication. And all we have to do is hit enter, and then it multiplies that together. Now, if you want to change that, you can double click in here and it'll bring that that formula back up. You can also click up here in this text box. It'll give you the same option, and then you can also press F2, and it'll bring that available as well. So if you're not using your mouse and you're kind of tabbing around with your arrow keys like this, and you can just hit F2 and change your formula. Another thing that you may notice here is that the cells are color coded. So you see how B3 here is kind of highlighted in this orangey yellow color, and then this dotted border is also in that same color. Same thing for the C3, it's in this kind of purple color, and then this border is also purple as well. So when you're working with formulas that have 7 or 8 or more cell references, which is what these are cell references. When you're working with multiple cell references, you can easily identify what the formula is referencing, okay? So we can hit enter, and then we don't actually have to type this in again and let it guess again. We can, in a couple of different ways, we can copy and paste. So we can say Control C for the formula we've already done, and then click in the new box, the new cell, and then we can hit Control V for paste. And it'll paste that same formula in, but it will actually bring the cell references down with it, which is really a really cool option. One more thing, if you want to get out of a cell without making any changes, you can always press the escape key and it'll exit the edit function of the cells. You can also grab this little magic box right here. I don't know the actual nomenclature for it. I call it the magic box, but but you can grab that, you can drag that down, and it does the same thing as the copy and paste, except, well, it does the same thing, it's just a little bit faster. And if you're pulling the same formula down, a range of 10, 20, 100 cells, that's pretty handy. Okay, so now let's look at adding things together in a different fashion. Let's say that our total, we want to see what all of these items together total up to be. And we want to put that in this cell here. So we can press equals. And then what we want to do is we can type in sum, and it's going to give you a couple of different options. These are all from the formulas that are available. I can show you where those are at. You can say insert, come down here to function, and then here's all of your different formulas that Google Sheets has available for you to use. There's some really awesome formulas in here. I encourage you to go through there and check them out, figure out how to use them. All right, so, oh, there, it didn't like our half-drawn formula there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and click on sum here because it's a sum of a series of rows and or cells. And then it's going to ask us, what's our first value? What's our second value? So what we can do here is we can just simply click and drag and select those 3 cells that we want to add up together. And then we'll close off this parenthesis here, hit enter, and now you have the total of all of these items together. And this is really handy because, maybe something happens, maybe, you need 3 gallons of milk now, right? And so you can just type in 3 to update the quantity, and then everything else updates with that. This was $7, now it's $10.50, and then the total here updated as well automatically. Set maybe eggs. We overpriced eggs. Maybe they're what, $4.50, right? And so it changes everything automatically for you with the cell references, which is phenomenal. Makes things great. All right, now let's look at some conditional formatting. So let's say that you have your budget here, which is $20, and your total is $35.50. So you're going to be really surprised when you go to the checkout stand and you don't have enough money to pay for everything that you've picked up, and then you have to return things, and that's always a hassle and fairly embarrassing. So there's a couple of different ways that you can get to the conditional formatting. One is to come up here to Format, and then come down here to Conditional Formatting. The other is to click in the cell and then right-click, come down here to View More Cell Actions, and then come here to Conditional Formatting. Takes you to the same place. Either way, it's just a personal preference as to what you want to do. Now, when you open up the conditional formatting, it's going to default to the is not empty. Format cell if it's not empty, which is not what we want to do. We want to come down here and we want to say less than, and can we just, okay, B8. All right, so if it's less than B8, it'll highlight, right? So we can click done. Where did it go? It didn't do it. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. It did do it. It added it there. So one thing about the conditional formatting is you won't see all of your conditional formatting rules. You'll see them per cell or maybe even a range of cells, right? So if we click out over here, we won't see our conditional formatting rule over here because it's only in this cell right now. So what we're going to do, test this out. So let's increase our budget to $40. So now our total expenses is less than our budget, and so it turns green. Kind of cool. You can also add another rule here, conditional formatting rule, and say if it's greater than equals to B8. And all I'm saying is if it's greater than this cell, right? And it always has to have this equal sign. It's a Google Sheets thing, but it has to always have that Google cell, that equal sign, sorry. But it's saying if it's greater than this particular cell, right? So it's column B down to row 8. If it's greater than this, we want to change it to red and hit done. So now if we come back over to our budget and change that to $30, it turns it red. Okay, so then, say, okay, we know that let's say we have $34. We're right on the edge there, and it's over budget. We can come in here and say, okay, well, maybe we only need 3 cheeses instead of 4. You change that, and the conditional formatting automatically updates that for you. So it's nice and easy to see, hey, we're in budget, we're over budget, this is what we got to do. Another thing that you can do is if your conditional formatting is multi-tiered, like say you've got 4 or 5 different layers, and it's all well, if it's over this, well, then the next, if it's over 20, if it's over 30, if it's over 40, um, and it's not coloring just the way you think it should, you can always try to come over here with this little moving area here, and then you can move your conditional rules up and down into the proper order. That way things are ordered properly. And as you play with that, you'll understand that more. But if like say red is, more than 20, and then green is more than 30, and then your value is more than 30, well, it's only going to show red because that's the first rule. It stops at the first rule and says, okay, we've satisfied that rule, moving on. But if you change it around, it'll say, okay, now we're here. Or it'll look at this value and say, nope, that's not a true value. And then we'll look at the next one and then continue on down the row until it finds something that is true, and then it will format that cell in that fashion. All right, guys. So that's it for this tutorial. If you liked what you saw, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions or comments, or if you see something else that you want to know about, leave a comment and I'll get to a video as soon as I can. You guys have a great day.